Welcome to Faith's Food Forest 2024. It's Memorial Weekend and I just finished putting in my last seedlings. I have a couple little extras that I need to find a home for. But the whole food forest looking pretty green and lush. It was just so beautiful with the azaleas and the daffodils. But they've just passed, so we're waiting for the real summer explosion of color. You know, here in the front we got a little yellow, we got some irises, got some phlox. But let's take a stroll around the perimeter here. First we see this hazelnuts finally coming to its full size. Maybe we'll get some hazelnuts this year. I believe this is year 4 in this location. Year 3 for my beautiful perennial lupins. Year 2 for the irises my neighbor Camille donated. Some phlox, some sedum. And then all along this perimeter for 1, 2, 3, 4 panels, I have 2 rows of russet potatoes. And along the top, at each upright, I have one stalk of corn circled by painted pony beans. Now, this is sweet corn, which I've never grown, and painted pony beans, which I've never grown, both from Seed Savers. So it's a test, and we'll see. At the center of each panel is one of these rings. And they're there to help me hold up the gladiolas, which I planted completely circling the perimeter this year, instead of having 2 at each panel across the front. And then I also have a purple cabbage and a green cabbage. You can see a lot of, which looks like weeds amongst the potatoes, but it's really calendula that reseeded itself from last year. I'll be taking out some of it, but I'll leave some too. So as you can see, it just repeats: green cabbage, purple cabbage, flowers, and potatoes all along this perimeter. And when you get down to my headboard that I painted, you will see underneath there 8 cucumber plants I planted from seed. They're looking kind of yellow, not real happy about that. Hopefully they'll green up. I plan to backseed them today, but it's a little rainy. I may or may not get to that. And then we're coming across the front. So you see those little copper hoops in the middle. I have glads all the way across. And I also have across the bottom here potatoes, but these are my favorite Yukon Golds. And instead of cabbage at the top, I have planted something from the Basilia family. So it's either cauliflower or it's broccoli or it's Brussels sprouts. So I have 2 of each of those. And then in between up here, I've just planted corn. Some of that sweet corn. I'll be pulling most of these. I'll just leave a couple. But that's what's growing all across here until here. And I have the same pattern going here, but the bean has changed. Down here, the beans are a wax bean and a scarlet runner bean. But otherwise, still the same pattern. And, you know, you can surely tell this bed back here gets the most sun. Look at the size of those potatoes and beans. Much taller than just, say, right next door. But, oh, look, I'm already getting the dreaded potato beetle, too. See one? You know there's more than that around. So then when you come along the final perimeter, you'll see this hazelnut bush here and a whole bunch of irises and some bleeding hearts in bloom. Then down low here we've got our first sighting of our dill coming up. Ooh, we can start making ranch dressing. Bergamot's coming up big and strong. Some little garlic onions. Ooh, my Egyptian walking onions, got a lot of those. And my butterfly bush is just making its appearance. And then a bunch of yummy, yummy, yummy cilantro. But the mystery this year is my poor Honeycrisp apple tree, which never put on a flower this year. No idea why. Last year I got over 100 apples. This year, not a single blossom. Don't know. There's my other hazelnut bush. And then my black raspberries, which I transplanted from the other side of my yard to put it within the fence. So quit fighting the peskies. All along the front here, I do have a few different irises in bloom and some phlox, but the rain has really beat stuff down. And then we have my other apple tree, my Cortland apple, which bloomed, but because the Honeycrisp didn't, I don't know if it will cross-pollinate and whether I'll get any apples whatsoever. And I won't know for another few weeks if I see any budding appear. Fingers crossed. Here in this bed also, underneath by each of these trunks, you see I planted some pumpkins, just one pumpkin plant from seed. And then I planted a couple of sunflower seeds down here by the lobster trap, which is my kitty cat's favorite hiding place. But I haven't seen them. I could have weed whacked them, or, the seeds didn't take. Who knows? I can see that my clematis is climbing up to my lights already, so that should be awesome. I cut the one on the left in half and transplanted to the right because it had died, and I'm hoping to get it to go up over the door again this year. We'll see. Now let's go down the center of my food forest, and you will see a bunch of cherry tomatoes planted up this trellis. I used to have a spring-loaded branch trellis, but last year I know I was getting hip surgery, so I put up this fence thing so I wouldn't have the issues. Last year the high winds blew it down, and I knew this year I wouldn't be as able, so I wanted to make sure I had more sturdy setups. And I have two sweet 100s, 2 orange brown tomatoes, 2 black cherry tomatoes, and 1 yellow cherry tomato. And so it repeats. So I'm hoping this whole trellis looks like a rainbow of different colored tomatoes. Along each end I planted some yellow onions that I got from the Maine potato lady. I also planted some snowball onions along this side, which I started from my own seed, but it doesn't look like very many of them have done very well. So some of the extra onions I have left over from my vegetable garden, I may just be planting in there. And at the end, I have echinacea on both sides and catnip in the middle. My cat just loves to hang out there. In this little bed, I have daisies at each end. And last year, I have made the big mistake of planting a lot more daisies in here. And you can see how huge one plant gets. And it completely choked out my blueberries. So I had to remove them and plant them outside the fence. So my high bush blueberries are blooming right now. So I will get some berries, but not many. That's my bad for choking it out. My little bitty bush, look at that vibrant pink. Just getting ready to bloom, and you can see I have a big patch of rhubarb about ready to harvest. Here's my other high bush. They're 2 different varieties and more daisies. And when you come over here, I have on my southern bed, I have my grapevines, which this is year 3, And if I did my pruning correctly, and it appears I might have because I think I see the start of grapes, I should get grapes this year for the first time. You can see this is also my asparagus, purple asparagus. That's my Concord grape. Look how tall that guy is. I've been eating a lot of it and it's been yum. Along the bottom I've planted some purple onions from seed. They're doing okay, but not great. And I can see some potatoes I missed from last year have reseeded themselves. I'll probably yank them out. But the bad news is I had 2 low bush blueberry plants here, both of which appear to be dead. So I'm gonna go to O'Donnell's and see if I can't get 2 to replace them. My pond's looking all right, although it's looking a little shallow, which means I got a hole in there somewhere. Am I gonna rebuild that? Probably not. Those rocks are heavy. But right along the edge here, I have planted some gladiolas and some sunflowers. This year I did not plant birdhouse gourds. So you can see some of the sunflowers are coming up already. And then my westerly bed is the same, only this is my quote green bed. So this is my green grapes. I'm looking to see, yes, even they have my first sighting of grapes. So it looks like I will get grapes on both. Maybe I did prune these right. And this is my green asparagus. Look how tall that one is. Let's go over here. Maybe you could see it better at another angle. There you go. It's up to my chest. And here's one of my low bush blueberries that survived and did well. But here's one of my low bush blueberries that didn't do so well. The little red leaves, that's it. The yellow onions did really well compared to the purple on the other side. And again, obviously, I missed the potato from last year because I decided to plant no potatoes in these beds this year. I wanted to show you a quick look at just the very center, which looks so pretty from here, surrounded by hostas and just waiting. It has phlox and lavender and bee balm and prairie plants and so many. I had like 50 daffodils and hyacinths in here that just have gone by. But as you notice, trouble in the center. I had a glass table in there last year that broke and shattered. So I covered it with cardboard and I'm going to build up this year and put some sand on it and figure out some way to bring my table back into the center. So that's it for Kathy's efforts this year in Faith Food Forest. Almost called it Kathy's Food Forest. Not bad for a lady who couldn't walk, who's been on a walker. Just got off my cane a week ago. Hip surgery went okay. But, yeah. Love it. Hope you did too.